When it comes to working out, most of the stuff online is just fluff. It looks sexy, but it doesn't get you a whole lot of results. It's the unsexy fundamentals that actually move the needle. In this video, I'm breaking down exactly what those are, so you can train with confidence, knowing you're doing what matters most. When I first started working out, I was clueless on what I was doing. I never did any research. Yes, I watched a few YouTube videos on how to perform each exercise, but aside from that, I had no idea what I was doing. I was using a free app that didn't have the best workouts, and honestly, this worked for a few months. Newbie gains are a real thing, but once those wore off, my progress plateaued a ton. I then dove into YouTube to see what I needed to improve to start seeing progress again. And honestly, more times than not, I left more confused when I left YouTube than when I started watching YouTube. There were like 100 things that I wasn't doing that I was told that I needed to do in order to see results. After working out for years though, I learned that while a lot of these things worked, they were for advanced lifters who had years of experience and needed a little push to see a little bit more gains. If I had focused on the fundamentals from the beginning, I would be a lot farther ahead than where I am today. Taking my mom's whip to the gym today. Mine's in the shop, probably getting a strut done in the front end. It's clanging around and has something going on with it, so thought I'd better get it looked at. If you take anything from this video, I want it to be this, and that is that you need to be incorporating progressive overload into your workouts. It is a major factor when it comes to muscle growth, and honestly, it isn't that complicated. In simple terms, every week you do an exercise, you want to make sure you're either increasing the weight, the amount of reps that you do, the amount of sets that you do. You can even decrease your rest period or even slow down your tempo. The truth is, your muscles aren't going to grow unless you consistently increase the amount of stress that you put on them. For example, if this week I bench 200 pounds for 5 reps and do 3 sets, then next week I either want to do 205 pounds for the same amount of reps and sets, or keep the weight at 200 pounds and do 6 reps for 3 sets, or do 200 pounds for 5 reps at 4 sets. Each of these variables is going to increase the stress that I put on my muscles. Another example of this is keeping everything the same and slowing down how fast I do the movement. This is known as decreasing your tempo, and it's another way to make an exercise more challenging. And the last way I can make this exercise more challenging is instead of resting for like 2.5 minutes, I could lower my rest period down to 2 minutes. In order to make sure that you're doing this properly though, you need to make sure that you're tracking your workouts. Unless you have a better memory than me, unless you track your workouts, you're not going to effectively incorporate progressive overload, as you're going to forget what you did the week before. A simple notebook is good enough. Now, there are apps out there these days that make it extremely easy to track your workouts, so I definitely recommend using them. It's a lot easier to carry around a phone than a notebook and a pen. While I was doing the bodybuilding portion of the personal trainer certificate, they talked a lot about how you need to do full range of motion for full growth. Now, before I get into this, there is an advanced technique where you can do partial reps to see a boost in muscle growth. And while I do agree that that can be an effective technique when done correctly, that's not what I'm arguing with here. What I'm referring to is while you're doing a regular set, a mistake a lot of people make is they load up the bar too heavy or try and use too much weight. And in order to be able to complete that set, they don't do full range of motion. This has them stuck, not seeing the gains that they should be seeing. A lot of the time when you're doing this, you're not doing the lengthened portion of the lift when your muscle is in its most stretched position. And There's a lot of new research out there that shows that portion of the lift is very important. Not doing full range of motion also increases your risk of injury. For those of you who don't know what a full range of motion rep is, you're basically going through the fully stretched and fully contracted portion of the lift. For instance, a mistake that I used to make all the time on the bench is I would stop about 2 inches from my chest because I was using weight that I couldn't go any lower with. This was definitely not optimal. Once I lowered the weight and went right down so the bar touched my chest, I started seeing a lot better results. If you find you're not doing a full range of motion in a particular exercise, then lower the weight, drop the ego, and make sure that you're going throughout the full range of motion. It might feel like you're taking a step back in the short term, but in the long term, you're going to make a lot more progress. Before I get into the next point, I want to let you guys know about my free fitness accountability group on Discord. It's for anyone who has trouble hitting the gym consistently and is looking for a group of people to hold them accountable and keep them motivated. If that sounds like it's of interest to you, I'll drop the link down in the description of this video. Another fundamental when it comes to getting jacked is exercise selection and training frequency. When it comes to training frequency, it all depends on how much experience you have. If you're a beginner and have been training less than 3 months, then I would stick to 3 times per week. This is the optimal zone for you. It's not too much that you don't get enough recovery, but it's enough that you're hitting every muscle group with enough stimulus. If you've been training for 3 months or more and you're starting to see your progress plateau, then it's time to increase the frequency that you go to the gym by adding an extra day every week. After 6 months, you could even add in another day and go to the gym 5 times a week if that's something that you prefer. Aside from training frequency, exercise selection is also very important. You want to make sure that compound lifts are at the core of your exercise program. Compound lifts are any exercise that require multiple muscle groups in order to do a movement. Think your bench press, deadlift, or squats. These are great for stimulating muscle growth and creating an all-round aesthetic physique. I recommend you do these at the start of your workout as they're the most taxing on your system. Then I would add in isolation exercises. These are exercises that put all the focus onto one muscle group. Think your bicep curls or quad extensions. These are also great to bring up lagging muscles that are not keeping up with the rest of your body. One big mistake that a lot of people make is not warming up. I'll do a full video on this shortly. However, for this video, I'll give you the basics. Before every workout, you want to do dynamic exercises to warm up the muscles that you're going to be targeting during that specific workout. This means light movement to get loose, increase blood flow, and it helps you avoid your risk of injury. For heavy compound lifts, always do a few warm-up sets. I usually do one with just the bar, and then I do a second one with 50% of my working weight. The second mistake that a lot of people make is they don't go hard enough in the gym. They stop when it starts to feel difficult, but this is when the real growth happens. You should be training within 1 to 2 sets of failure, and sometimes even failure. If you're easily doing your last few reps, then you're not training hard enough. That said, training hard all the time does take a toll on your body. This is why I like to do a deload every 4 to 6 weeks. I cut both my weight and my reps by 50 to 60%. This gives my body time to recover, but it also stimulates my muscles so I'm not losing any momentum. After a deload's over, my performance in the gym is a lot better. If you enjoyed this video, it's actually part of a series on all the fitness fundamentals. If you want to check that out, make sure to click on this playlist right here. Also make sure to click that link down in the description of this video to join my free fitness accountability group on Discord, and make sure to click subscribe.